along California's central coast. The Santa Cruz County Sheriff's Office says a wave trapped a man beneath debris at Sunset State Beach. The high surf's also believed to have pulled another man into the Pacific just a little farther south. To the north, Santa Cruz Parks and Recreation Director Tony Elliott says
the Santa Cruz Wharf was hit as part of this swell event with large waves, and we lost, we believe, approximately about 150 feet of the end of the wharf.
The wharf was under renovation after damage from previous storms. I'm Ben Thomas.
The Weather Service warning of snow, sleet, and freezing rain in parts of the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic today. If you're on the road today, gas is $3.04 a gallon. That's 8 cents less than a year ago, says the AAA. A legendary drug lord from Colombia has been deported after years in a U.S. prison. The AP's Donna Warder has this.
67-year-old Fabio Ochoa was deported back to Colombia after serving 25 years of a 30-year prison sentence in the United States. The legendary drug lord and key operator of the Medellin cartel was greeted by family in Bogota Monday afternoon after getting off a deportation flight. A reporter asked Ochoa if he was sorry for what he did. Ochoa answered no, because he didn't do it. He claimed he was framed.
Bethlehem's been getting ready for another somber Christmas under the shadow of war in Gaza. An explosion at an armament factory in Turkey has killed at least 12 people. This is AP News. The AP's Lisa Dwyer has the latest now on an investigation into a ski lift problem in Colorado that stranded skiers and snowboarders.
Officials are investigating what caused a crack in a Colorado ski lift that forced the evacuation of over 170 stranded skiers and snowboarders at the start of a busy holiday season. The evacuation happened Saturday on a gondola lift at Winter Park Resort. The resort says the lift stopped automatically when a structural crack was detected. A video shared by Edward Blanc and TMX shows passengers being lowered down by ropes over the course of about 5 hours. No injuries were reported during the rescues.
A pair of 5-year-old pandas named An and Kiki have been celebrating their first Christmas early in a Hong Kong park, munching on special treats. I'm Rita Foley,
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Michael Caro. For your Christmas Eve, we'll have mostly cloudy conditions with high temperatures reaching up into the upper 30s. Then for tonight, cloud cover, a low of 31. Christmas Day, mostly cloudy, a chance for some afternoon drizzle developing with upper 30s for highs. Even milder into your Thursday, a slight chance for some light rain, high of 47. Rain likely Friday near 50. And that's your latest Chicago weather update. Right now it's 36.
See website for details. Bills Happen is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, the credit card bill came and we're maxed out.
Great! Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by for a few weeks.
We should do what my brother did. He went to billshappen.com and got $3,000 the next day.
With our bad credit, I don't think so.
Billshappen.com is different. They are one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope, my brother said it was easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. Bills Happen's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Great news! I went to billshappen.com, and we will have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to billshappen.com. That's billshappen.com. Billshappen.com.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn. Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that will focus on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Tuesday morning, progressives, and welcome to, the December 24th, 2024 edition of Choose Views, 773-763-9278. That's the number where you can call us, and most definitely you can text us, and I will read your text, maybe, if it's a good one. Well, not really. If it's not if it's a good one, but if it's one that's clean, without lots of, profanity and stuff. Anyhow, Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, Twitter stream, iHeartRadio, and of course, email me as always at richard@WCPT820.com. I will be busy replying to emails that you guys have sent me the last day or so, and we will say this a couple times today. Merry Christmas. Today is Christmas Eve for those who celebrate as such, and we hope that everybody is where they need to be. Catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. That's where you can get Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, and of course, Out Chicago and our other shows and interviews. Of course, other shows, meaning you can also get Choose Views, short version and long version. That would be there at our through our WCPT podcast. And also, what am I going to say? You got to check us out over at heartlandsignal.com, which is our digital platform. Lots of good stuff there. So take it in, guys. Take it in and turn around and share it with the folks you care about and the ones you think that need to be informed. Yes, here we are right up on Christmas. And as it's kind of a how do we build a show on Christmas Eve so that we can be informative and inspiring and not send you guys away for Christmas with a nothing but good in your hearts and good in your thoughts. And so today, as I put together today's show, I'm thinking, all right, let's kind of have a little bit of both, recognizing that it is Christmas Eve and tomorrow is the big day, as we would say. But I want to keep you guys informed as well in terms of some of the things that are going on. We've got a great guest with us this morning in our 7:30 hour, Paul Gustav. He will be chatting with us a little bit about the, I guess what we'll call him is the Northwestern music detective that found an interesting music trove, or a trove of music, old Christmas music. And so he will be with us this morning and in the 7:30 hour. So that will be interesting. It'll be one of those things where we'll learn something that we didn't know, and given that this young fellow, as I would say, has a Ph.D. and has studied music and is a lecturer here in Chicago, both at Northwestern and University of Chicago. University of Illinois, Chicago, I should say. It'll be an interesting conversation. So Christmas music the day before Christmas, or at least a discovery of that. How about that? Can't go wrong. But yeah, as we talk about it being Christmas Eve and tomorrow's the big day, you guys definitely want to give us a call. Today will be your day to talk as much as you want to about anything you can. Of course, the lines are open now, so give us a call. If there's something that we haven't covered that you'd want to talk about, then by all means, give me a call, let me know, and we'll chat about it today. If there's some things that you'd like us to be talking about as we get ready for the new year, then by all means, reach out to us today and let us know by text or by phone. But we'd love to hear your voice so we can hear what you have to say. Nothing wrong with that. Got a couple of interesting clips that Henry and I were able to put together as it relates to some of the issues that oftentimes come up in the conversation around who we value and what we value in this country. And I think that, as we listen to the things that people who you may not expect it to come from start to speak, that's where you kind of find the good stuff. That's where you kind of find the conversations that maybe you aren't used to having. And I'm of the mindset, of the belief that if you don't talk about it, then that doesn't mean that it's not happening or that it's not important or that it's not something that folks are concerned about. And so got a couple of clips that Henry and I put together that I think you guys will appreciate in that space. One of them, do we have the MAGA? This is not the most recent. Do we still have the MAGA? Y'all blew it. Okay, before we go to break, guys, I want you guys to hear this clip that Henry and I put together that I thought it's just appropriate, and for reasons. Why is it appropriate? So many people, so many reports and notifications and all these things are out there. People saying that buyer's remorse. And, what they didn't do right. And, gosh, I wish it had gone differently. And I thought I was voting for this, that, and the other. I can't tell you how many things I get sent about people who've said something along those lines. But we have a clip that Henry and I put together that I thought you guys should hear. Let's let them check it out.
The amount of MAGA people who are regretting their choice in vote is hilarious. It's like y'all did no homework. It's like y'all did no homework and expected to graduate with honors. The number one Google search should not be, can I change my vote? You were supposed to do the homework before you voted for this man. Now y'all worried about tariffs all of a sudden. I see people talking about, I didn't know that he was going to change the education department. My child has special needs and they may not get the needs that they need in school. Duh! I done seen so many of y'all say, I didn't know the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare was the same thing. Black folks called it Obamacare. That's where that trend of that name came from. It's initially called the Affordable Care Act, and now y'all won't have no care at all. Y'all talking about y'all VA assistants. Baby, that's gone too. Y'all unions. There won't be a union anymore. I'm learning something about Republicans and Democrats. Democrats, we actually study the person who's running for us. We look at their criteria, we look at their policies, and we question them. Republicans, y'all just voted for the white man. I'm sorry, the right man. Now y'all sitting here boo-hooing because y'all family and friends have cut y'all asses off and y'all realize that the consequences of your actions are coming back to bite you in your ass. Not my problem. That's just not my problem.
A little sarcasm there, but we call this MAGA y'all blew it because you did. And you cannot, no one that okay, let's see, how will I say this? I had to clean that up myself, Henry. For those who decided to fool themselves, see, here's part of where my brain goes with this. And I've said this a little bit since the election. When it comes to this conversation around voting against their own interest. See, I look at it like this, and I look at it particularly when I balance out how women voted, how certain women voted, percentage-wise, 52% again of white women voters voted for Donald Trump. So, and there are other groups and other, ways of putting this all together. And 78% of white men in America voted for Donald Trump. 39% of Latino men voted for Donald Trump in this election. I think that's right. Irrespective of not irrespective of the actual percentages on the button, but more specifically, when I hear the conversation that I can't believe these people voted against their own interests, or in this clip, Maggie, y'all blew it. People now wanting to change their vote, and Trump says that he can't, that fixing prices is hard, and the war in Ukraine is hard. All these things that he's now turning around. And as I said, or from what Tom Hartman's article said, why don't people just say that he lied rather than, he changed his mind or whatever, he just lied. The voting against one's own interest, I call that into question sometimes, because the people who may have asked, can they change their vote? Okay, that was foolishness. But the people who have sort of gone along with this and aren't really saying a heck of a lot right now, maybe they actually did vote toward their interest. And their interest is, in this holiday season, I'll say it, it isn't being particularly spiritual or I won't say God-like or Jesus-like, because, that's not the denotation for every faith. But it wasn't necessarily a vote of charity. People want to see other folks in pain. I'm not saying that to be negative, somewhat in a humorous way. There's some crazy A folks out there that they voted in their own interest. Their own interest is to prevent other people from having the benefits of what this country says it's all about, the largesse that this country can provide and be welcoming. And I listen to other shows and I try to get content and things that will provoke my thinking and force me to go, down some different paths so that I can kind of embrace how other people are looking at things. And prior to our show, Rick Smith is on, and he talked about, he said something that a couple of his friends that said, why in the hell did the Democratic Party have Beyonce? Well, here's the answer to that question. To appeal to younger voters. That's the reason why. And I would gather that the people that he's talking about are probably middle-aged or older white Americans. So this is where sometimes even the person that says that they're the most, progressive, whatever person, they end up making some statements that are gender biased and cultural biased. Beneath the conversation is that his friend said, why did the Democrats have Beyonce? These are coming from people who are wealthy people asking that question. Well, it's to appeal to younger voters and to a blend of voters from a cultural standpoint. So I found that a little bit offensive that not that his friend said that. Friend said that they're going to say what they're going to say. He can't control that. But to then link that to the Democratic Party missing it when it comes to the everyday labor, meat and potatoes Americans, that doesn't always sync up, because there are a lot of those meat and potato Americans that were very pleased with the way in which the campaign was run. And unfortunately, tried to get people's attention, like this woman just did in the clip that we put together, to say, this guy is going to take us in this direction. That wasn't about appealing to America's meat and potatoes Americans. That was about creating a hate conversation. The others are bad, and we have to make their lives awful. That had nothing to do with having Beyonce as part of the campaign any more than that would be like saying, okay, so then it was all right to have Hulk Hogan rip his shirt off. So talk about which black American did that appeal to in mass, or which Hispanic American, Latino American, Mexican American, LGBTQ did that appeal to? So I sometimes have to call out people that I'm close to. See, I don't play. When I tell you guys to call out the folks real time, I'm down with Rick Smith's show, and I'm down with Rick Smith and where he is, and we've talked on a couple of occasions. But to say that Beyonce is the nexus of why we weren't talking to meat and potatoes Americans, no, because the reality is we talk to meat and potato Americans in other ways. We can do all of that. So, be mindful of what people say when they say they voted against their own interest. Because some people voted for their interest, and that was to keep people in certain communities from having access to the largesse of this country. And I had, as part of my, putting together the show, there's certain things that I know I'm going to say. And then there'll be something that'll add to it, and that's a comment from somebody, and I got to deal with it. Because as you guys know, I deal with stuff real time as best I can. So there you go, guys. MAGA, y'all blew it. 773-763-9278. I'm going to take a quick break. Look forward to your calls.
This is a WCPT Veteran Minute. When Pearl Harbor was attacked, men of all races across the country volunteered to join the fight, despite the United States Army being heavily segregated. Black enlistees were mostly assigned to combat support roles. But this did not stop Lieutenant Colonel Paul L. Bates, who knew of the racism and pushed his soldiers to achieve excellence. The 761st Tank Battalion was formed in the spring of 1942. It contained 30 black officers, 6 white officers, and 676 enlisted men. The unit donned the nickname the Black Panthers, wearing patches on their uniforms with a panther on it and the slogan, "Come Out Fighting." And in 1944, the 761st was assigned to General George Patton's Third Army in France. General Patton gave a colorful speech to his crew, and the Black Panthers became the first African-American tank squad in World War II. and by the end of the war, the Black Panthers had fought further east than every other United States unit, receiving 391 decorations for their heroism.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Good morning. You're waking up with Richard Chu.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
We're live and ready to hear from you. Text or call us now at 773-763-9278. Same number. Simple as that.
Let's get the conversation going
on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
All right, guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Yeah, you got to deal with stuff in real time, and that's why this clip that we put together is strong. MAGA, y'all blew it. And don't come looking for, some love and affection from those of us who tried to tell you that this was going to be painful to you. And let's be honest, there's some people in the middle that voted for this garbage. They just are being very quiet about it. But those might be the ones that'll surprise you during Christmas. Henry, they're going to roll up on you when you're sitting there and they're going to say, yeah, man, I didn't know enough about Kamala. So, Trump, he's not going to be that bad, dude. You know that's going to happen, man. People are going to roll up on you like that. And, you try to be respectful, but at the same time, you got to call people out and say, so really you want this guy who, would you trust him would you trust him in a car with your sister? Would you trust him in a room by himself with your daughter? That's a fair question. That's a fair doggone question. All right, guys. Speaking of our young folks, let's hit some quick Choose Views news and talk about what's going on in our world in which we live. Henry, students relying on ride-hailing apps. Ride-hailing apps are helping parents get their children to school as a bus driver shortage forces school districts to eliminate service. That's a doggone shame. That's a doggone shame. All right, look, that's according to the AP. With just 28% of U.S. students taking a bus, parents in Chicago who have kids in the same school can book rides in their cars using an app created by a Piggyback network. Los Angeles-based Hop, Skip, Drive operates differently, parenting with school districts, or should say partnering with school districts to provide transportation for students who lack transportation options. The companies say drivers undergo background checks and parents can track their children's locations in real time on the apps that are provided. So that's, okay, I can get with that, but to not see that we have bus drivers, good Lord, y'all, come on. Confidence soars amid uncertainty. Consumer confidence dipped for the first time in 3 months during December, led by Americans over the age of 35, as their views on growth dimmed. The Conference Board's index fell by 8.1 points, reversing claims of the prior 2 months. A sub-index of expectations for future income, business, and job opportunities dropped 13 points to just above the level that typically precedes a recession. And that's what makes this noteworthy. In written responses to the survey, many expressed concern that proposed tariffs would lead to higher prices. MAGA, y'all blew it. Tried to tell you. Nordstrom. Now, this one's one we talked about earlier this year, back in the summer. Nordstrom is going private, it announced yesterday, in an all-cash deal worth more than $6 billion. Why is that important? Consolidation. The department store's founding family will hold 50.1% ownership after the transaction is completed, and a Mexican retail group will own the remainder sometime in the first half of 2025. Nordstrom's revenue took a beating during the pandemic and has not yet recovered to its 2019 high of $15.9 billion. Many other big-name department stores are also struggling as shoppers increasingly do business online. Macy's has been closing about 150 stores, while Neiman Marcus Group was sold to Saks Fifth Avenue's parent company earlier this year. And one of the things that's challenging is I was in a big box store yesterday, and I'll just share this. I walked around looking for one item, and I went to two different people of which didn't know where to find it. Come to find out that they were spending too much time, they were spending more time than I thought was necessary on their phones, talking to customers about items rather than working and being in a service mindset. I don't know. Maybe it's my age. But it just seemed like I said to a lady there, wow, and we wonder why some of the big box stores are closing. Amtrak's holiday travel hits a snag. Doggone it, some trains along Amtrak's most traveled routes, are delayed and canceled late yesterday as rail crews work to restore service after signal power issues took place over the weekend. Parts of the Northeast Corridor line, which runs between Boston and Washington, D.C., were suspended entirely late Sunday, delaying some customers' pre-holiday travel by hours. Amtrak did say late yesterday that there is no estimate for the resumption of normal service. The railway system has seen record ridership and revenue in 2024, topping 32.8 million passengers. That's a 15% jump from 2023. So that's good to see that people are traveling, but doggone it, rail systems, get it right. Honda and Nissan, you guys heard about this earlier. We talked about this earlier this year. Decided yesterday their intent to complete a $58 billion merger in 2026, creating the world's third biggest car maker. The Japanese auto giants, plural, have also given Mitsubishi until the end of January to join discussions aiming to reach an agreement by June of this upcoming year. Honda and Nissan previously agreed to collaborate on electric vehicle batteries and software as they face increasing competition from Chinese car makers and, unfortunately, Tesla. A merger would give them the scale they would need to boost their EV offerings, Honda's CEO said in a news conference, and it is not a rescue of a struggling Nissan. It's a partnership. Ding dong, meet the Apple doorbell. Here's something Kevin McAllister could have used in Home Alone. You guys remember that? A smart doorbell armed with face recognition that wirelessly controls a front doorbell deadbolt lock. Apple's latest project is intended to act like Face ID, but for the home, according to Bloomberg. The doorbell system would likely work with many third-party locks already on the market and compete with Amazon Ring and Google Nest, though it's not expected to debut before the end of next year. The doorbell is part of Apple's push into smart home space, which could include an AI-infused hub and an in-home security camera. So, there you go. That I think that's a great opening. Kevin McAllister could have definitely used that in Home Alone. I have to tell you, Henry, I was this was last weekend. I was just in that mood to watch Home Alone, and this is the impact of how we're impacted by media, affected by media. So they were airing back to back, Home Alone 1 and Home Alone 2. I watched Home Alone 1, and then of course I saw on the guide that Home Alone 2 was the next. And do you know that I actually decided not to watch it? Yep. And tell me why I decided not to watch it.
I feel like it's because the incumbent is a star in the Home Alone 2, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's also predominantly the locale is the Plaza Hotel.
Oh, right.
The Trump Plaza Hotel.
Yeah.
And listen, guys, as much as I bring it to you the way that I do, and I'm honest about the things, I'm going to be honest about the things that I see and feel. I was like, you know what? I enjoyed the movie, but that venue and what it represented, and now who the person was that owned it at the time, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch it. I didn't want to be, not throwing anything at the screen. I don't do that. But I decided to watch something else. And that is me just being honest with you guys. And I think one of our superpowers is being honest about what you're seeing and you're hearing and then dealing with it. I chose not to watch it. Funny movie, silly movie, and we need that. But I rested on having enjoyed the first one and then put myself through the torture of watching the second one and having to curse every time, there was a shot of that former Trump hotel. So there you go. I'm as real as I'm going to be with you guys in that space. But yeah, I did watch Home Alone, and Kevin McAllister could have used that device to help him ward off the burglars. So funny movies, guys. All right, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we may grab some calls. We may do some other things. But it's Christmas Eve, and we're going to try to keep it informative and funny and silly today because that's what we want to do. 773-763-9278. We will be right back.
Check Up on Health with Chris Whitting.
Italians don't have heart attacks. Italian Americans do. Japanese don't have heart attacks. Japanese Americans do. Now, either our genes changed when we crossed the water or something else changed.
Joe Piscatella underwent emergency bypass surgery at age 32 and has spent 4 decades since then coaching others on healthy lifestyle choices. He says attitude can make all the difference after bypass surgery.
The mental aspect is what keeps you doing what you know to be the right thing for your health. It's not the falling down that is the disaster. It's not getting up. That's the failure. When you get up, you can fall down as many times as you need to, but it's continuing to get up. And that all starts in your mind with a positive mindset. To center your mind, have a positive mind, and it translates into actions that benefit your heart every single day.
With Checkup on Health, I'm Chris Whitting.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Michael Caro. For your Christmas Eve, we'll have mostly cloudy conditions with high temperatures reaching up into the upper 30s. Then for its night, cloud cover, a low of 31. Christmas Day, mostly cloudy, a chance for some afternoon drizzle developing with upper 30s for highs. Even milder into your Thursday, a slight chance for some light rain, high of 47. Rain likely Friday near 50. And that's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently 37.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
It's Choose Views with Richard Chu on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. Catch us on all the socials, Facebook Live, Twitter stream, TuneIn Radio, iHeart, YouTube, all the spaces and places. So listen, it's a cleanup on aisle 7 moment, sort of. When in our clip, MAGA Y'all Blew It, one of the things that was in that clip was something that is used, but I want to make sure people understand that I know what I'm talking about. The Republicans are the ones that gave the, quote, ACA the name, as Henry said, the pejorative Obamacare. Not black folks. The woman that was in that clip was saying that black folks use it or call it Obamacare, but we know that black Americans didn't name it that. That was what Republicans who wanted to make it, tag it with something, that they perceived to be nasty or disgusting as they were trying to label it or associated with former President Obama. So just so you guys know, I knew that. And, but we can't go in and edit a clip like that to take that out. We can blanket certain things out. But so just, we got you. And I appreciate the text that I received from someone down in Arkansas. So kudos to you for being plugged in. Give us a call sometimes, 501. I won't go any further than that because I keep your numbers private. But and it's so funny how so many people were like, why'd you vote for Trump this time around? Because I want to get rid of Obamacare. Because I want to have the ACA. Okay. Guess what, pal? You get both. But if you get one, you get rid of the other one, too. So, oh, man. People. So one of the questions I wrote down that I wanted to make sure that I put out to you guys, and a little fun question, but on today's day, we should try to embrace it. What's your favorite? Sorry, guys. What's your favorite thing to have for Christmas dinner? Now, whether you're preparing a meal or you're going to go to somebody's home you were invited to, what's your favorite thing to have for a Christmas dinner? Or, as I wrote, for Christmas dessert? Because some people are like, you know what? Christmas dinner is not that big of a deal. But dessert, yeah, right. What's yours? And I'll tell you what mine has historically been. I love turkey like anybody, so many people do, and that's an easy one. But I also like to add some things to it. Like it was something that was on social media. Someone said, "Richard, what do I do if I'm just full of turkey? I don't want turkey for Christmas." And I was like, and the person said, and I don't want to do a ham either. And I said, all right, well, here's some suggestions. Maybe you could get ribs. You could do ribs on the grill, or you could, go to a rib place and, do takeout and then build your sides around that. That's always fun to do, Henry, is, you get the main the main protein, if you will, and then you may buy that. Yeah. And then you cook the sides. You cook the whatevers that might be. So that was one suggestion I made. The other one was to do a 7-bone roast. There you go. And then I said maybe do like a pork tenderloin, if that's what you're into. That's a good one. The different Christmas meal item, or the main, if you will. And then I said, hey, nothing wrong with going to the market or the store or the butcher or whatever you do, and just getting a couple of nice steaks and doing that, and then doing the sides. My wife and I are into sides. Sides are, we laugh, and many of my friends and I joke about this, and so it's not just me and my wife, but my wife and I are the highlight of this. What are the sides going to be? What are the sides going to be? So, that's why my reply to the person that hit me with this on social was, try these. Something different. If there's a good rib place in your community, then maybe go there and just place an order and build it around that, or 7-bone roast, or pork shoulder, pork tenderloin. But the point of all that is, I want to know. So my favorite for Christmas dinner is a mix of a mix of anything and everything. For me, oftentimes it's a basic. Let's just have a good protein, a good vegetable, and some mashed potatoes or sweet potatoes, and I'm good. But the dessert part that we don't want to miss, for me, the dessert, particularly during the holidays, I'm not going to lie. Those that know me know this is the truth. My favorite dessert during the holidays is, without a doubt, it's two things. And one of them is more formative, and one of them is kind of laid back and easy. Pecan pie. Henry just Henry just rose up, guys. Henry likes some pecan pie. I didn't know that about you.
Oh, absolutely. It's the best thing in my opinion, dessert-wise. Oh, it's so good.
Do you like it cold, room temperature, or do you like it hot?
I'll take it any way I can have it, honestly. It's all good.
My man. Henry's like, it doesn't matter. You bring me a pecan pie, it's going to get devoured. Oh, see, Henry and I would have been fighting then over something. Henry and I don't fight over anything, but we'd have been fighting over some pecan pie. I would have been like, Henry, look over there. Look at that fine woman coming down the street. And Henry would be like, Richard, you did that last year. It didn't work then, and it ain't going to work this year. I'm going to have my pecan pie. So stop trying to fool me. And my other one is, if you those pecan cookies that have, and I don't want to give the name of a company because that, we won't do that, but pecan cookies that have the white powder on them. I don't know what they're actually called, but there's a company that sells them in a tin, and we'll stop there. But those are dangerous, Henry. Mm-hmm. So you could actually have pecan pie right after the meal, and then later on, when you're sitting back, kicking back, watching, Home Alone 1, not 2 progressives, then you can get up and go get, something to drink and grab a few of those cookies. Mm-hmm. How about that? Mm-hmm. There you go. Mm-hmm. Cool. But I want to hear what you guys like. What's your main? What's your sides? And what is your dessert item or items that you kind of dig during the holidays? All right, let's keep it moving, guys. We have a couple of people that we'll try to get on the phone real quickly. Let's go to our man Andrew in Detroit. Good morning, Andrew. How are you? And welcome to Choose Views.
I was doing great when you were going to fight with Rick Smith, but now you're doing the food thing again to me. Thing in the morning. And I agree with Henry. I'll take pecan pie any way you serve it.
Andrew, you like yourself some pecan pie too?
Yes, I do. But my favorite thing at Christmas was my Swedish family's, what the hell do you call it? I'm getting old now. So, smorgasbord.
Oh.
We did American smorgasbord. Our Swedish family did.
There you go.
And there was no room on the table to sit and eat. It was so full of food. You had to go sit on the stairway, sit on the floor somewhere.
But that's the best part. Hey, Andrew, I remember going to some family gatherings where you got invited to somebody's home, And it was a bunch of people there. And so, there was really no place to sit at the table. I know exactly what you mean. When you said sit on the stairs, there's nothing like, and you guys can appreciate this, there's nothing like sitting on the stairs with a plate on your lap, talking to somebody, and just, two people sitting on the stairs having a meal. You know what I'm talking about, right, Andrew?
You got that right. You've got that right. Yep.
So go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'd sit up as high as I could so I could see everybody.
Yeah, I know, right? Absolutely. That's a great memory. That's a visual that everybody hopefully got, that put a smile on your face. Is that
me back to 10 years old.
Yeah, exactly, my man. Well, I'm glad you're doing well, and I'm glad to know that with your Swedish background, the Swedes can put together a meal. I've over the years have had some great opportunities and some sit downs with folks whose heritage is from Sweden. So right on with that.
There you go. Merry Christmas to all.
Absolutely, Andrew. Absolutely. I'm glad that you were able to reach out to us. And I wasn't picking a fight earlier, but I was, like I said before.
Yeah, no, I got the point. I exaggerated.
You got my point. I was like, okay. Right. So good deal.
And why talk about that kind of thing this late? We got to move on, people. We can't keep looking back. Look forward.
That's right. See, that's coming from the voice of a person that's been around for a minute and has experienced some things. Every now and again, we got to listen, not every now and again, more often than we are. We need to listen to voices that are senior to us so that we can learn that we've been through some crazy stuff before and that we can stout ourselves up and we can be strong and positive as we go forward. And I'm not putting words in Andrew's mouth, but the man has seen a few things.
We have to be progressive. That's who we are. And that's looking for the youth. We've had our time, and hopefully they take care of us. But, it's time for us to sit in the back seat. We can give some advice now and again, but, the world is always made for the younger people. It's their turn.
Yeah. That's a very profound thing to say, Andrew, and I appreciate that. And I always appreciate your call and your contribution to the show. I'm one of those guys that was raised by older parents and older siblings, and so I have a deep respect for the lessons that come from folks who've been around for a minute.
Love and respect, Richard. Talk to you in the new year.
All right, be safe, my friend. Talk to you soon.
I will.
Bye now.
Bye.
Yeah, I mean that's I during the holidays we all go through different emotions. And different thoughts about things and thoughts about people. And, you guys may remember this, and I'll do my best to get it out with getting choked up. But, earlier this year, actually the week that this show started, my mother-in-law passed away. And this is a shout out to my in-laws, all my sisters-in-law and my brother-in-law, that this was their first Christmas without their mother. And I've celebrated a few Christmases without my mom and my dad, but I will openly say on the cue from Andrew, we miss our mother-in-law, mom, and she was a great Christmas mom. She made sure that stuff was right for Christmas. Everybody was there. Everybody had to be on time and on point, and she was a great gal. And one of my favorite memories of my late mother-in-law is at our wedding, she had on this stunning blue dress. I mean, we still have it. It was just absolutely beautiful, Henry. And a good friend of my wife was having a good time dancing with people, and a good friend of mine and I were dancing. And I said, hey, I want to include my mother-in-law in the dance. So we went over and grabbed my mother-in-law, and the three of us danced. And the smile on her face was just, you couldn't replace that. So. But shout out to my late mother-in-law, Mary Jane, and during Christmas, she made Christmas a lot of fun and lots of smiles and lots of giggles. So, and shout out to my wife and my in-laws this first Christmas without MJ, but she's with us in spirit. So that's the cool thing. That's the thing that we have to remember and to hold on to. We've got some other folks that are close to me here at this station that are experiencing some of that as well. So blessings to you, Henry, and your family. We know that you had a transition in your family this year. So just letting folks know, stay close to those that you're close to, and let them know, the ones that you're not as close to, know that they mean something to you. So we'll take a quick break, guys. The number, as always, is what? 773-763-9278. We shall be right back.
This is a WCPT Moment in Labor. On March 25th, 1911, in Manhattan, a fire at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory killed 146 workers, who were mostly women. The victims of the fire were unable to leave the burning high-rise building due to the exits being locked and were forced to leap to their deaths from the 8th, 9th, and 10th floors. Locking doors was a common practice to reduce theft and unauthorized breaks at workplaces. As a result of the fire, the New York State Legislature formed the Factory Investigating Commission, whose findings led to 38 new laws regulating labor. Some of the new laws mandated better egress, the installation of better alarm and sprinkler systems, and increased availability of fire extinguishers. Coincidentally, the American Society of Safety Professionals was formed, which now manages, researches, and consults occupational safety and health across 75 countries. This has been a WCPT Moment in Labor. We are working for your rights.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
It's Chew's View with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hey guys, welcome back to Chew's View, 773-763-9278. Trying to sprinkle a little bit of holiday conversation in the mix of talking about the world that we live in and the politics that we are dealing with. And excuse me, guys, still getting over this. I hate dry cough. Oh my gosh, go away. But listen, trying to sprinkle in some things for you guys to enjoy and have some laughs around this holiday that we all look forward to in one way or another. If nothing other than to have the day off. It's also the celebration is a big part of it, but some people it's just having the day off gives them a breather, which talking about the working class, that's so critically important. And we have to continue to be behind that. Henry, speaking earlier, there was a comment from, we were talking about this whole thing around who has influence and who has impact. And one of the groups right now that talk about deserving a break are our teachers. And this is a clip that Henry and I put together that I think really speaks to a group that this time of year is how do I want to put this? When I was looking at this, I thought, what is it about? This time of year, teachers are hugely influential. They are throughout the whole year, but this during the holiday season, as I see it, one of my big memories and good memories during the holiday season were teachers. Because they had families too, but they were navigating their own families, but they were also making sure that kids in school were okay, and they were participants in the things that went down in the school in terms of the holiday, parties and the music festivals. And you all know what I'm talking about, hopefully. But teachers, sometimes I don't know. Maybe it's me. During the holidays, sometimes we forget about the teachers because everybody's trying to get out of school and leave school and go. And whether it be on a grade school, middle school, high school level, or those that are professors in college, but particularly and more specifically, those who teach on that, grade school, middle, and high school level. This is a little bit of a shout out to you guys for how folks like me and Henry see you and others who are in this progressive conversation see our teachers.
A very serious question for all these teachers: do you do anything except think about gender identity and your own sexual...
Yes. We teach them to read, to open books like doors to different dimensions, and even now my 6th graders still ask me to read to them. We teach them math, how to add to others' learning, how to subtract self-doubt, how division is great for pizza, but not classrooms or countries. And we teach them about science, how inertia is an object's resistance to change, just as fear is a person's resistance to change. We teach them about history, all the right and wrong and real and relevant, and we teach them to grow gardens out of gravel, how to make miracles out of scratch. We walk on water so they can walk on galaxies, and even when one comes back and says that we may have saved her life and that we are good at what we do, We choose to believe them over you.
There you go. Giving a shout out to our teachers during the holiday season as well, because they're the glue throughout the whole school year, obviously. And I just particularly think that during the holiday season, teachers make a big difference. They make sure that our children are that may not have the best situation going on in their particular home. The teachers probably know about that. They have some awareness of it, and they do their best. I remember some teachers making sure that children had, a gift during the holiday season, stuff like that. And, I haven't been in the school system in years, but I saw this clip and I thought, you know what, let's give some love to our teachers, because they sometimes, they're part of that working class that, we so oftentimes tout and throw those words out that get forgotten. And I don't want that to be the case to the best of my ability. So shout out to the teachers. And for those of you who may be in education or have had a career in education, if you are listening and would like a copy of that clip or like that clip to share with some folks, or just to play it and reminisce on what you've done, reach out to me at Richard at WCPT, Richard at WCPT820.com, and I'll get the clip to you. Most definitely, because that's a good one to reference where we are, I should say, with our teachers. Let's talk to our friend Jim here, I believe here in the Chicagoland area. Jim, good morning and welcome to Choose Views.
Good morning, Richard, and happy Christmas Eve.
Did you hear me yesterday? Did you hear how Devin scolded me yesterday when I said that the day before Christmas Eve, I call it Christmas Eve? And he looked at me with disdain like, no, Richard, it's called Festivus.
Festivus for the rest of us.
That's right.
Go get the grease pole. Let's go.
Oh, my man. How are you doing this morning?
I couldn't be better, man. I am a proud progressive Democrat, and I call myself progressive because I'm an old fart. And I've seen a lot, and my life has progressed for the better. I don't even know where to start. The problem with waiting is you hear all these other people. I don't know if the listeners know, but you're actually listening to the program, and you went through so many things. Now, I went from, like Christmas and having time off. When I was younger, I'd like to chase women and alcohol and have a good time. And now you're talking about cookies, and I'm old, and I'm salivating over that.
You know what cookies I'm talking about, though, don't you, Jim?
Dude, look, my mom's kugelas. She's Lithuanian, with potatoes and bacon and sour cream and salt and pepper. Yep. And she was married to my dad, Italian, and she would roll her own gnocchi and ravioli and then make desserts. Start about 5 hours ago and start cooking. Yeah. And cook till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and she'd have one beer and be passed out because she was exhausted for cooking it for us. We would eat for 25 minutes and go sit down, and she would have to clean. We're like, Mom, how about a coffee? Wow, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Jim.
Oh my God, might have. Well, anyhow.
Well, listen, I got to run that back on you for a minute. One of my favorite things about growing up, and not just during the holidays, but certainly a big part of it, was the community that I grew up in was truly a rainbow coalition, a mix of so many folks. And when you said Lithuanian, I thought about some of the Lithuanian friends that I had growing up. And the thing that was a connective tissue, and I know you can appreciate this, was the food from different communities that the different folks that lived in the community, whether it be Italian, whether it be Jewish, whether it be Asian, whether it be African American, and from our ethnic European communities, i.e. the Polish community, the Lithuanian community, and the like. Nothing like it, man. I'm telling you, that was where the good stuff was. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Food equals love.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep, and you weren't leaving the Lithuanian house without a giant belly. Yep. And it could be 3 o'clock in the morning, and Mom and Dad would wake up. Hey, would you like something to eat? And you couldn't do nothing wrong. Wow.
Yeah, I hear you.
I called, I believe. Now I'm confused, but I believe I called just for the spirit of Christmas, and whether you're a Christian or not, Christ. The story, or I have faith, But if you just go by the story of Christ, an immigrant traveling, Mary 9 months pregnant on a donkey to get away from Herod, who was evil, and he was the Prince of Peace and Love. I mean, he's known as this. I believe it. And peace and love and charity and loving your neighbor. Who is your neighbor? Well, then he went into the Good Samaritan, and actually that happened to me the other day. I'm a construction, and 2 people were walking with me, 2 other construction workers and myself, and I saw a person that was OD'd on downtown. Yeah. And I stopped to help her, and they're like, "Come on, man, we got to get back to work. She's just going to do it again." I'm like, "Are you serious? This is somebody's sister or daughter? Get out of here." I called the police, and I waited for them to come. So who's the Samaritan is the person that helps others. We don't. We're not going to hear about it on the news. I don't even care to, because that's where you're supposed to do things humbly. Right. But charity and love, and has won out. We're still talking about Jesus 2,000 years later, not Herod.
Right on, Jim.
Right.
That's right.
The destroyer. There's destroyers out there, and I choose to be happy.
Yeah, that's such a powerful.
A lot of my MAGA friends are unhappy now because it wasn't a close election. There wasn't a lot of chaos. They love chaos. They don't even know what they're talking about half the time, but they throw out these quick things they've seen on the internet or from Joe Rogan, and I'm like, I just shake my head and I just say, be careful what you ask for. I wish you the best.
Yeah. Jim, and
in my mind, I think I love you, but I don't like you right now.
Well, my aunt used to tell me that. My aunt told me that years ago. She said, "Richard, sometimes there's going to be people that you love because it's the thing to do. It's who we are as humans, but you just don't like them in the moment or like some of the things that they're doing." And I was, I think, 12 or 13 years old when she told me that, and it stayed with me like it has with you. But Jim, let me just say a couple things. First of all, kudos to you and the reminiscing that we had on food and community, but also for doing what we're supposed to do, and that's to help that stranger, to do what we can to help their life be either in the moment or long range just a little bit better. That in many ways is what a progressive should aspire to try to do, is to always be trying to find a way to help somebody, not with the adulation that some seek, but just because it's the thing to do to help that person's life be better. So kudos to you for doing that and hanging in there with her, because it's good. It's good for the soul. Let's put it that way. So I appreciate you sharing that story with us. Now go get you some cookies, man.
Oh yeah, looking forward to it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you for calling, Jim, and thanks for your contribution. Merry Christmas, and you and your family have a great day and stay safe. Okay.
You too. God bless.
God bless. Bye now. And I will say, God bless and Spirit bless to those who wherever your faith is. I'm going to be respectful to all of the faith of humanity and to the spirituality of humanity. That he put Jim said it, and I hadn't think about it that way, but I had to go back and find one of my feeds that I was looking at. People say that Donald Trump was put into this role because that's the ordainment of God, and that that's a conversation that people want to have. But I'm looking at this a little bit differently, and Trump was not necessarily God's plan. If anything, it was a test from God on this day before Christmas. And frankly, the evangelicals failed the test. Okay? Trump was not God's plan, necessarily. But if anything, he was God's test. And the evangelicals failed the test based on the criteria that they set up to be the test in the first place. So kudos to you, Jim. Thanks for reminding us of that. We're going to take a quick break, guys. 773-763-9278. We will be right back.
This is a WCPT 820 Heartland Signal News Minute.
I think it's Hakeem Jeffries who is the person that literally makes this happen.
That's Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, Democrat of Washington State, speaking on MSNBC minutes after 196 House Democrats voted with just 170 Republicans to pass the American Relief Act 2025, a continuing resolution that funds the government into March. Throughout the 118th Congress, it has been Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries
and Democrats who have bailed out Republicans again and again and again as we go into a Republican trifecta. Who is Mike Johnson actually negotiating with? Is it the president-elect Donald Trump, or is it the shadow president Elon Musk? When it's a Republican trifecta, they will have to produce all of the votes for anything they want to do.
For WCPT 820 and Heartland Signal, I'm Andy Miles.
Whether you get pulled over or get into a crash, drinking and driving will change your whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley.
Are you traveling for the holidays? Millions of us are. The AP's Julie Walker.
It's beginning to look like another record for holiday travel, with drivers and flyers getting out of town ahead of Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa. AAA predicts more than 119 million people will travel at least 50 miles from home between this past weekend and New Year's Day, which would top the previous holiday season high set in 2019. I'm Julie Walker.
But the weather could make traveling dangerous in some places. A wintry mix of snow, sleet, and freezing rain could make travel hazardous in parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, says the National Weather Service. California's Central Coast has been getting hammered by a major storm. The flooding and high surf blamed for the death of a man trapped under debris on a beach. Why did several drones fall out of the sky during a holiday show over the weekend in Orlando? The AP's Mike Hempen has this.
The Federal Aviation Administration says it's investigating why several drones collided and then fell from the sky Saturday night during a holiday show in Orlando. One woman says her 7-year-old son needed surgery after a drone hit him in the chest and the blade cut his mouth. The drones fell into a crowd of thousands of people watching the show at Orlando's Lake Eola Park. The show was permitted through the FAA.
Bethlehem's been getting ready for Christmas under the shadow of war in Gaza. Manger Square lacked its usual festive lights and crowds of tourists this morning. The area outside the Nativity Church has been quiet. The public now getting a look at the remains of a 50,000-year-old baby mammoth uncovered by melting permafrost in Russia's Siberia. Scientists believe the mammoth was only 1 year old when she died. This is AP News. Now some advice on how you can spot fake online reviews. The AP's Lisa Dwyer.
The emergence of generative artificial intelligence tools that allow people to efficiently produce detailed online reviews has put merchants, service providers, and consumers in uncharted territory. Phony reviews have long plagued many popular consumer websites, but now AI-infused text generation tools enable fraudsters to produce reviews faster and in greater volume. The deceptive practice is illegal in the U.S. Consumers can try to spot fake reviews by watching out for a few possible warning signs, such as overly enthusiastic or negative reviews. AI reviews are typically longer, highly structured, and include cliches like the first thing that struck me and game changer. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
And I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Michael Caro. For your Christmas Eve, we'll have mostly cloudy conditions with high temperatures reaching up into the upper 30s. Then for tonight, cloud cover, a low of 31. Christmas Day, mostly cloudy, a chance for some afternoon drizzle developing with upper 30s for highs. Even milder into your Thursday, a slight chance for some light rain, high of 47. Rain likely Friday near 50. And that's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently 37.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Paid for by Estella's Pharma.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chew on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. So glad that you guys are with us on this Christmas Eve day, or we'll call it the day after Christmas Eve, or the day after Festivus. All those things that you know, your boy here throws out to you. Listen, so I was sent a text, Henry, that says those cookies are called butter pecan meltaways. Yes, we'll take it. And 847, you are for the win. Thank you for that reminder. Yes, those are called butter pecan meltaways, and they are so good. And you can ruin yourself because you just keep eating them. You can't have one. You can't have one. No, it's like the cookie version of Jay's potato chips.
Yeah.
Not to be promoting any product names, but just, you know, having some fun with the thing that we all do. And, you know, listen, I am the first to say, you know, we all want to be healthy, and we want to promote good health and good eating and smart nutrition. And Henry and I were talking about this during the break. One of the things about the holidays that we all know, and it comes to us, you can eat lots of food and be healthy, or you can be healthy and eat lots of food during the holidays. One of the keys is just moderation, and get up and go for that walk. After you sat on the steps with that plate and you talked about politics and all the things that are going on in society and so forth, then, you know, you put that plate down, you help people clean up the kitchen, and then you go for a walk, weather permitting. That's the way you do it when those big meals at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. And as Henry and I were saying, that's one of the things that we dig about the holidays, is just being able to chill and enjoy the food. And, you know, listen, guys, if there's somebody in your family that's doing the majority of the cooking, a lot of folks don't want anybody else in the kitchen. They just want to do it, have everybody sit down and enjoy themselves. I know that from years and years and years and years of family gatherings. But just be mindful. At least ask the question, to the person that's the primary cook or the host, can I help with anything? Anything is the key word. Can I help with anything? Because a lot of times they don't want you to help cooking. They don't want you to help with the cooking. They don't. They want you to stay out of the kitchen. So the question that I've found to be helpful is, can I help with anything? Because then the person will probably say, yeah, you know, can you go and get that, whatever it might be. I know that sounds corny, but think about it. When, you know, and I'm sure Jim can appreciate this from his history, who just called in, and so can Andrew. Just ask, what can I help with? Is there anything I can do? And if there's not, then go sit your behind down and enjoy. If they say, no, we're good, just go enjoy yourself, then go enjoy themselves. Don't keep bugging them. You know, don't keep bugging them. Let them do it. And I think that's one of the things that the host of an event really likes, is for folks to come in and enjoy themselves. And oftentimes, you know, I've said when I've hosted things, when my wife and I should say, what I should say is when my wife and I have hosted things, people will say, Richard, can I do anything? Can I help you with anything? I've said to people, believe this one, Henry, I can't mingle right now. So make sure that people just check on folks for me. One of my sisters-in-law, she's really good about that. And one of my cousins, I said, listen, just make sure that this person's good and make sure that these folks are okay. Because you can't see everybody. You can't talk to everybody. And so just do stuff like that. I know that sounds corny, but I've thrown a few gatherings. So I have a little bit of, a scar tissue there. So, but now, guys, as you're making your way around and doing things on this to tomorrow and the next couple of days, if you're taking the days off, please give yourself the permission to relax, to, kick up your heels a little bit, because that's part of, we were all built this way. We get through a 12-month year. We get to the end of the year. We look forward to the holiday season and then being prepared to get ready for the next year. So please, y'all, just give yourself a little bit of a break. Take some time to reminisce. And I know that New Year, next week is New Year's, but I'm going to say it now, and I'll probably say it again next week. Enjoy these next couple of days if you're off, if you're not off, but make sure that you are embracing the love and the energy of your family and your friends and your associates, because unfortunately, we know that when we come back from the holidays and when we get back after the new year, we got some hell to deal with. And so I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna repeat what I said earlier. The evangelicals, they they failed the test. They did, and I'm gonna say that a lot, because they put it out there that this was their man of God, or the man of God. He was, put out by God and whatever. They failed the test, because in reality, if they were following the teachings of the one, then Donald Trump wouldn't have been a factor, to be honest with you. Okay, and I want to say, I'm saying it this way because I want you guys to recognize that I know that we've got a fight in front of us, and I talk about it every day in one way or another. But I know that we have a fight in front of us, and use these next 10 days to get yourself right as best you can, so that when we come back in the new year and we know what the impending horror will be of once this fool is inaugurated, that we're all going to have to collectively deal with. So I've asked a question the last week and a half: what are you going to do when you have that family member, or you're at a gathering during the holidays, that slips and says, yeah, I voted for Trump, or I didn't vote at all, or I voted third party? Remember what I've said, ask them questions. How is that going to help the majority of Americans? That's the question you want to be able to ask. And then get them to explain their rationale. And then the third piece of that is, and then remind them that during this transition of this Biden to Trump administration, our folks probably aren't going to invade the Capitol. Our folks probably are not going to cause that kind of havoc. Why? Because President Joe Biden isn't going to call for it. And neither will Vice President Harris, because she didn't win the election. And be proud about the fact that our folks are going to mind their P's and Q's and not cause the kind of drama that those of the MAGA crowd did. So embrace that, ask questions, ask how is that going to benefit the rest of the country, your vote, if you voted for Trump, third party, or didn't vote at all. And make them tell you. It's kind of be one of the most powerful things you can do is to ask that question in any of those three scenarios to see what their response is. And you probably will be surprised. I want to harken back to something that Jim shared with us. I have this clip that Henry and I put together that I think it's just one that fits for where we are right now, and takes on something that Jim said about being the Good Samaritan. And this is what a gentleman who is in a MAGA territory tried to do.
One good Sunday morning. So, as you're well aware, my Trump supporter neighbor was laid off from the steel company because of Trump's supposed tariffs that might be coming, and a couple other neighbors. So guess what? My one neighbor I saw in the produce section working in the grocery store. Yeah, she was sorting through the onions, the corn, the tomatoes, the lettuce, putting it all up, making it look real nice. So I went by and I went real close and I grabbed a tomato and I looked over and I just said, hello. And I didn't say much. I walked away because she knows I'm a diehard Democrat. Even though I left her money last week in an envelope to help her out. But still, this neighborhood, just nothing but Trump supporters. They don't back down. And they're not learning that they're laid off because of his rhetoric and his words. But, oh well, see what happens. Thanks for watching.
So the clip is a gentleman that's in a MAGA-dominant area with MAGA neighbors left, right, forward, and backward. And what he did is something that, when I saw this, I just thought, good neighbor trying to help out That's really, what he's trying to do, and be encouraging to a person that, as the previous clip said, one of the previous clips said, MAGA, y'all blew it. And, you can still be charitable, even though you've got folks around you that would probably slam the door in your face. And that's what we want to try to do as progressive liberal Democrats, is be charitable, be helpful. And obviously during this season, it's heightened. That conversation gets heightened because it's just how we roll. But I think that as part of our superpower going forward and being connected is letting people know that you aren't going to tear us down. You aren't going to pull us apart. You aren't going to break our spirit. No matter what legislation comes forward, we're going to fight you to the end. I saw this information that came to me yesterday afternoon about Trump is inviting, let me back up. Sorry, Azalee, and sorry, Pam. The 34-time convicted, twice adjudicated felon and rapist is inviting to the inauguration some folks from this far-right German group that are supporters of, did you say, I think it's AFD or something like that. And that the people that are Muskettes are advocates of this. And both Musk and that other the vice president, President Musk, and Vice President, the other person, have ties to these Nazi groups. And so even in the face of that, see, here's the thing that I strongly believe is different than what people are fearful of from the past when it came to Hitler. This is still America, okay? And there are people in the country that are going to fight back, and many of those people who are this is the optimistic side of me in this conversation. There's going to be some surprises that the right isn't prepared for, that MAGA is not prepared for when it comes to this fight. I believe there's going to be some surprises, and I don't know who they're going to be, but the optimistic, forward-thinking part of me says, as much as there's going to be some hell, there's going to be some people on the right that are going to say, nah, I'm not a liberal necessarily, but this is a bridge too far. And it's not just me being optimistic. I think at my core, I realize that people understand the difference between right and wrong. And I heard a clip day before yesterday about the reason that a lot of people are wary of Elon Musk is that it appears based on his actions, and I want to say that and couch that the right way, that he has no empathy. Well, y'all know what happens in cases like that. And I'll stop there. I was told by someone recently that when I reference bringing a sledgehammer to the party, I should be referencing bringing sledgehammer of thoughts. And I appreciate that bit of advice, because I don't want you to literally bring a sledgehammer to the party, but bring a sledgehammer of thoughts in terms of how we smash them back with our thoughts and with our planning and with our ideas, like David Jolly says. So, all right, we blew through the break, and Henry's just looking at me like, come on, Chew, cut it out. 773-763-9278. Guys, we'll be right back.
How would you like to get high-speed internet for about $10 a month with no annual contract? It's possible with Whole Home Connect, your internet superstore. The internet's grown up over the years. There used to be maybe one provider. Now you have multiple choices that you may not even be aware of. Whole Home Connect can help you. With one phone call, they will show you the best internet deals available in your neighborhood. And yes, we have deals as low as $10 a month, with no annual contracts. Whole Home Connect is your one-stop discount store for all your internet needs. It's time to upgrade your internet plan and save money. Call right now for a free quote and to learn about internet plans starting at $10 a month with no contracts.
Call now, 800-257-5168. 800-257-5168. Call right now, 800-257-5168. Again, that's 800-257-5168.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
It's Choose Views with Richard Chu on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. So tomorrow's show will be a best of show, a rebroadcast of some of the top interviews that we were blessed to have this year on Choose Views. So I think you guys will enjoy that for those who will be able to tune in. So kudos to Henry and the guys for helping put that together for the show. Excuse my dry cough. It's there and it'll work itself through. So a couple things, guys, that you have to kind of position yourself to understand why I said I think there'll be some surprises from the right. And the Senate is going to be leaning Republican, as is the House. But there are some senators that are making their way onto what some are calling Trump's naughty list. And what I mean by that is the senators who are not just, rolling over. And they've made it known early on. Senator Lisa Murkowski up in Alaska is one of them. And over the years, she's been one that's tried to do her part. Not enough, given the cultures of community that helped get her elected. Others are Joni Ernst in Iowa, that's not really happy with Pete Hegseth. And some of the others that, believe it or not, could be people that could stand up. Bill Cassidy in Louisiana, Susan Collins up in Maine, Todd Young in Indiana, Mike Rounds in South Dakota, and John Curtin in Utah. And believe it or not, even, old-ass Mitch McConnell. We've had and have our issues with each of those senators collectively and individually. But it's those voices that could surprise us. And I'm not banking on it. I'm not going to let them fight the fight for us. I'm just saying that there could be some folks out there in the Republican Party that recognize that that's a bridge too far. And largely because as senators, they recognize they represent, for lack of a better word, since we have 2 senators in each state, they represent half of the state. And maybe that's a silly way of putting it, but you guys get what I'm trying to present. They represent half of the state. And half of the state didn't vote for them, mathematically, just put it that way. Which means that if you break that down even further, only 25% of the state actually voted for them. Just, I'm just trying to do some election math and conversation. So what does that mean? They recognize that their seats are, tenuous, and every 6 years they got to do it all over again. And what happens in a state where you've got a blue governor and a red senator or 2, and the governor leans in and says, you know what, you got to straighten up and get your boy in acting right, i.e. 34-time convicted, twice adjudicated. I'm not being optimistic, guys. I'm just looking at how they want to protect their turf. And, the conversation from Musk is that we're going to primary you if you don't do everything we want you to. Well, Elon, that's going to come with some troubles. And if you guys understand what the troubles were all about in the 70s, I'm going to tell you, Elon, right now, you're one dude. You are the wealthiest dude in the world, but there are other wealthy people. I'm not going to say he's the richest. I'm going to say he's the wealthiest because he's not rich in a lot of ways. I believe that there are going to be people who recognize that they can't be part of that party and that part of that craziness. And that the power of the people is actually, if you slow down and hear that, the power of the people is more powerful than any one man or woman. The question is harnessing that power. And this is where progressive liberal Democrats have the work to do. And I said this last week, and I'm going to say this in the weeks and the months and the years to come. And that is, if we take half of the 69 million people, and my numbers might be off a little bit, that didn't even vote, and go get half of that, and then break that in half again to do what I did in terms of the Senate math. We change this. We fix this. Same numbers of people show up, and we go get half of the folks that didn't even show up, and then half of that, which is net of 25%. Then we can fix this. And if we happen to get a few people from the right that say, you know what, this is a bridge too far, this is still America, then there you go. And so during this holiday season and this pre-Christmas show, I'm thinking that we can turn this back. So, in any event, that's kind of where I see this, and I'm hopeful, but I'm not stupid. I'm hopeful. I just think that I think that when we talk about people like whether it be Elon Musk or Peter Thiel, their agendas are not any more important or bigger than the agendas of the American people, and particularly those who just aren't going to tolerate this. And I think this is true. At least I'm hoping that it's true when it comes to the Senate and the members of the Republican members of the Senate, that the 7 that I listed that could be ones that raise their hand and say, no, we're not going to accept that. We're not going to take that. So there's a little bit of optimism in there, and I'm not being blind to this reality. I've talked about it for weeks. I'm not blind to it, but I'm trying to say that there are tools that we have, and if the number one tool is galvanizing the people that this means something to, that maybe sat on the sidelines, and at the same time not letting the people who were in the fight fall far away from the fight. And that's in the hands of the Democrats. It just is. I'm repeating myself. I'm not relying on Republicans to do a doggone thing. I'm hoping that the Democrats, and we, not just Democratic elected officials, but we as Democrats collectively say, all right, let's lean into this. And if there happens to be, to make sure I'm clear, some Republicans who say that this is a bridge too far, that they will step up and they won't be worried about getting primaried. They won't be worried about what Trump or Musk or Peter Thiel or Vivek Ramaswamy or any of these other knuckleheads decide to say to them about primarying them. That we, in that process, we go, okay, let's get it done. And guys, I'm I'm trying not to bring, as it was suggested to me, I'm trying not to bring, my sledgehammer to this day before Christmas, and put a little bit of smile of optimism, realistic optimism, and realistic progressive thinking on your heads, knowing what we're up against. And that's why I said earlier, take some time to enjoy, this immediate holiday season, and get yourself, in a mindset that you can go forward. Okay, that's all I'm trying to say, and I'm trying to do it in a way that we can have some fun, a little bit of fun with it. Because MAGA, y'all blew it. It just did. And so did the evangelicals. Let's go to our good friend Azalee before we go to this break and have our guest on. Good morning, Azalee. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Richard, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your family and everybody there at WCPT. You were saying bring a hammer of thought. Well, we gotta get more thoughts into what we do and how we handle these people, because Elon Musk is up to no good. We know that, and I was just telling your
Henry,
what do you call it? Just telling him, you know what? When the when the Affordable Care Act was, enacted, they disparaged it and they called it by, a name that everybody was hating. Those people on that side, Obamacare, which it saved millions of people. It gave people a peace of mind. It gave the students some security if they became ill, because they could remain on their parents' health care system, and so it did so much good, and they're going to disparage it. So we got to disparage Elon Musk. Here's a guy who hates Obama and people like him, but how did he get his riches?
Mm-hmm.
Because of Obama. So we need to attack that to him. I don't know what, I hadn't thought about this before, but there should be a name, sort of like Obamacare, like Elon's got Obamacare for his millions of billions or whatever.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. The monies that he received as part of his government, we'll call it Social Security, not Social Security, but his government benefits and his government pass-throughs and tax breaks, his government welfare. Thank you, Osley. I couldn't get the word out. His government welfare contributed to his uber wealth that he has right now. There's no doubt. It's all documented. It's all right there. I'm not being anecdotal or hyperbolic, and you can agree with me or disagree with me. It's a fact that without those items there to help with his plant building and his development, Tesla wouldn't exist in the way in which it exists today. That's not to say it wouldn't exist. So let me be clear.
Tesla, but you know what? Because he's white or whatever, he gets away with it. And I'm thinking too, Richard, when I make a loan, if I'm in a business, I make a loan. When I make my profit, I have to pay that money back.
Yeah.
So these people who get money from the government, why isn't that a loan? Where's the mind of these lawmakers? That should be a loan. So you should not get money from me and then you become richer than I am.
Yeah.
You need to pay me back.
Absolutely.
Money.
That is so very, very true and appropriate, as always. Hey, listen, we got to take a quick break because we got a guest that we got to have on the show this last half hour. But Azali, Merry Christmas to you, and thank you so much, as always, for your contribution. So many people that listen to the show across the country appreciate that you are who you are, of the age that you are, and still in the fight. So thank you for thank you for the Christmas gift of you being you.
Thank you so much, Richard. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we may have a little guest and holiday trove of information coming at you. 773-763-9278. We will be right back.
Have you heard? Affordable healthcare is better than ever. And right now there are more carriers and plans to choose from. If you're between 18 and 64 years old with a household income of $25,000 or less, this message is for you. Right now the government's Affordable Care Act is available for individual and family health coverage plans with little or no cost to you. Don't gamble with your health. Call Healthcare for All at 800-264-0899. That's 800-264-0899.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Michael Caro. For your Christmas Eve, we'll have mostly cloudy conditions with high temperatures reaching up into the upper 30s. Then for its night, cloud cover, a low of 31. Christmas Day, mostly cloudy, a chance for some afternoon drizzle developing with upper 30s for highs. Even milder into your Thursday, a slight chance for some light rain, high of 47. Rain likely Friday near 50. And that's your latest Chicago weather update. Currently 37.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome back to Choose Views with Richard Chu on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Hey guys, welcome back to Choose Views, 773-763-9278. So as we wrap up this last bit of the show before we head out for Christmas, it would be no more appropriate than to have a individual who's actually got their hands on some stuff, some historical stuff as it relates to Christmas and Christmas music and the celebration of the season. With us this morning is Paul Gustav Feller-Simmons. Did I get that right?
Yes. Hello. Yes, you got it right. Thank you for. I know it's hard.
It's a mouthful, as they would say. I mean, we could give you, what are they? We could give you initials, but that would take away from making people have to say all of the name. But Paul is a Ph.D. candidate in the musicology program with Northwestern University and a lecturer at the University of Illinois Chicago. And he's with us this morning to talk about one of my favorite things, which is music. And and Paul, you should also know that Henry, our board engineer this morning, is a musician. He's a Renaissance man when it comes to this stuff. But it's great to have you with us this morning. And I'll ask you this opening question. What the hell did you do? What did you find? I mean, this is crazy. Tell us about it.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Richard, for having me, and happy holidays to you, your family, your listeners. So, oh my goodness, what I found, I participated in 2 research projects, and one with my dear friend Kirsten Haig, who is at Stanford, with whom we found a treasure trove of music from Guatemala from the late 1500s, early 1600s, from the Huehuetenango Mountains, which back then it was pretty inaccessible. And, well, lo and behold, in Bloomington, Indiana, 17 manuscripts full of music, incredible, and quite a bit of it was what we call the enciclos in Spanish, written by Mayan musicians and performed by them. The other repertoire also is a project with my dear friend Cesar Favila from UCLA, where we have been working now 5 years on conventual music from what is now Mexico. It used to be called New Spain. Music by women, by nuns from the city of Puebla de Los Angeles. Also, most of it in Spanish, the enciclos as well. That's what we found, just a lot of music from very, very old music.
And, okay, so I'm going to ask a very, not stupid question, but one that's just, it's a curiosity question. So, literally, when you found them, what's the word I'm looking for? In what condition were they?
Well, it's very different. It depends of where. The music from Mexico had been kept safe by the Cenidim. It's part of a larger collection called the Sanchez Garza collection. And our colleagues in Mexico have been doing amazing work to preserve the manuscripts. These are mostly single leaves of music that are incredibly well kept. And I also have to say, the nuns were amazing copies, so they are in incredible quality. As for the music from Guatemala, it's now at the Lilly Library, so the staff has been of Indiana University. They are amazing, and they have been keeping these manuscripts really well. But also, the manuscripts are very old. They come from a very different place, the highlands, Guatemala, so they are brittle. And those are, they have withstood quite a bit. Let's just say that. So that was a harder project.
Wow, that's just fascinating. And now, these were works that were performed in a convent. Do I have that correct, in Mexico?
Half of those. So these are 2 different projects. The music from the convent was performed at the Conceptionist convent of Puebla de Los Angeles. We are so lucky that the nuns even wrote their names on their manuscripts. This is music that they loved. It's the music that they could understand. It was fashionable, really nice music. The other repertoire from Guatemala that was performed in missionary villages that, had been, so to say, not completely abandoned, but had been left to the indigenous populations to kind of take mostly care of themselves. So those were performed by indigenous people from Guatemala back then.
And this goes back to, in terms of the two different findings, one goes back, what are the dates that they each go back to?
Perfect, yes. So the Guatemalan manuscript, those are earlier. We have, of the manuscripts that we use for this concert and for our forthcoming edition of the music, they date from around, say, 1590 to probably 1630. It's hard to tell, again, because they're not all dated.
So you've had quite of I guess you could say, varied experience, but very specific in the work that you're doing with regard to the Mexican influence or the Latin American influence when it comes to Christmas. Tell us a little bit about that.
Christmas in Latin America has a long history. The first missionaries really arrived very soon after, the expeditions led by Christopher Columbus, and they took what we often call a hybrid approach, meaning that they often, of course, they impose their religion upon the indigenous populations, but every now and then they would make certain concessions. So what you found by the end of the Conquista, in the middle of the colonial period, as we call it, is often something that has a little bit of indigenous flavor. Now, when we're looking at institutions like a convent in Guatemala, they are going to be a little bit more controlled by the authorities. So what we find more than anything is religious music. A lot of religious music. People used to pray a lot. They not only did the daily mass, but they also had the liturgical hours, and they would sing. They sung a lot. You cannot imagine how much the nuns would sing. Now, it would be really surprising. People have calculated that nuns and monks used to sing several hours a day. That's what you do.
Wow. Well, I mean, so we could say they were the original. One could say they were part of the original voices when it comes to this conveyance of Latin American Christmas. I mean, I don't think that's a stretch to say that, right?
No, they were that's a soundscape. The soundscape of Latin America back in the day was very complex. You could walk through the city. Let's say that we're in a city, of course. Pueblo de Los Angeles was arguably the cultural center around the 1600s. You would probably say that you go to Mass in the cathedral, gilded, amazing. It's a monument that I would recommend anyone to visit. Listen to the sounds of all the musicians playing organ and old instruments and singing, and then you could walk through the streets. People are also going to be singing a different kind of music, probably to the sound of the Baroque guitar. You could go to the convent, and nuns are also going to be singing. Music was everywhere. Not muffled by the sounds of our industry today. So very, very different, noisy in its own way.
So yeah, this is interesting too, because the whole concept of gender in colonial Spain and the Catholic churches running of all that does play a big part in this as well, particularly if nuns are singing and nuns are bringing this beautiful music to the forefront. How does gender roles in the patriarchy affect all of this?
Well, it determines most of their lives. My good friend Cesar Favila, he just published a book about the singing nuns. Sometimes, in Europe, they call them the singing angels. The patriarchy, well, their lives were largely determined by, of course, male officials, the upper echelons of the Catholic Church. They had little say in, all the regulations that were imposed upon them. But then, and this is the most important thing, the convent was a female space. It was a space that was not only occupied by women, but also regulated by the abbess, by the upper echelons internal to the convent were women. So it was a space for them to, even though, of course, they lived in a patriarchal society, they had agency in a way just like we do today. I'm sure that 500 years in the future, people are going to think that we're crazy with all our rules or who knows, things that we cannot see today. But people thrive. People thrive, and they were like, they have fun, they do their things. These women also, they were truly devoted to the religious life. So I believe that many of them had full lives, even despite the gender differences.
So tell us a little bit, and we've got a couple more questions for you. This is fascinating. I'm sitting here going, wow, and Henry's nodding his head because we both are lovers of music. Tell us a little bit about the influence of the Baroque guitar in the space of
Baroque guitar.
Yeah. Tell folks.
So the Baroque guitar and its cousin called the vihuela, it's similar but slightly different. Those were plucked or strum instruments that were incredibly. They were everywhere, and especially in the colonies, but also in Europe and in many countries even beyond Spain. It is really hard to tell where people would perform with the guitar. It's a very intimate instrument. We do know, because at least based on my previous research in South America and the Viceroyalty of Peru, that every now and then authorities would be, miffed that people were performing with the guitar in the cathedral, in the churches. But what we know is that because they keep repeating these legislations, these ordinances, well, that probably means that people were still doing it. So chances are that people use the guitar in many, many spaces, many, many places, and they had quite a bit of repertory. Specific to the guitar, dances, something that you could, it's something that you can take places and just, have fun with it.
Wow, that's amazing. So one of my favorite places to go and have gone to during the holiday season, and largely due to what you described in terms of the Latin music, the indigenous music, and the influences of that part of our collective culture, is Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I don't know if you've ever spent any time there during the holiday season, but a lot of what you talked about is the feeling and the energy that you get there during the holiday season. And it's a wonderful place to be, to experience a lot of this sort of Mexican, Guatemalan, and indigenous influence on music during the holiday season.
Well, I gotta admit that I've never been to New Mexico. It is in the bucket list. Right now, I'm in Utah right now with my family. The reality is that throughout time, many of the colonial practices, the colonial outlooks, became something people call it folklorized through the 19th century with the movement, from the rural areas to the urban areas, the growth of the cities. But many of those traditions are still alive today. People don't change that quickly.
Got it.
Other things around people change quicker than people change.
So as we wrap up, and we appreciate you being with us, Paul, give us kind of your holiday send-off as it comes to music and what you want to see people kind of embrace when it comes to music during the holiday season.
No, I would say music has a power. It has a power to unite, to bring people together. I would say people sing together, feel the sense of community, the same sense of community that the music that I've been researching brought to women in New Spain and to indigenous peoples in Guatemala. Those things haven't changed. Enjoy the music. I'm sure that at some point you're going to listen to the Messiah of Handel, a personal favorite. But there's so much more out there, and make this music your own.
Absolutely. That's absolutely great. So thanks for being with us today. Paul Gustav Feller-Simmons, who is a Ph.D. student at Northwestern University here in Chicago, a lecturer at the University of Illinois, Chicago, and a music finder of lost stuff, that we all can appreciate the fact that you were able to be part of the resurrection of a trove of 400 years of Christmas music. Paul, thank you so much for being with us, but even bigger than that, thank you for the work that you're doing and the influence that it's having on so many people.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for showing interest in this. It's just people like you, those who are keeping this alive.
Absolutely. Well, we thought it'd be a good way to send folks off before Christmas Day tomorrow to have you with us today. And again, we appreciate it. You and your family stay safe and have a blessed holiday season, okay?
Thank you so much, Richard. Have an amazing day.
Be well. Be well, my friend. All right. Bye now. There you go. I mean, how cool is that to have someone with Paul's experience and experiences to chat with us a little bit about one of the things that is a connective tissue item for all of us anytime during the year, but certainly during the holiday season. We are full of the various types of music, but most certainly, as he said, the Messiah. And whatever your flavor is, I grew up listening to the Christmas albums of everybody from Nat King Cole and Bing Crosby to Ella Fitzgerald, and the list goes on. And we had a stack of what is that thing called, Henry? That you put the albums on the old turntable that would drop down the music, and it would be 2 or 3 albums that would play right after the other. What an ingenious thing, by the way, to stack albums and have them play, then one play, then the next and the next. But we would listen, like so many families who our house was full of holiday music, and if there is, and it's the reason I asked Paul this question. If there's something that you can do that will put a smile and good energy into your system during this holiday season, it's to listen to music. It is a connective tissue item for all of us. And it can be different types of music. But I've found that the message is in the music, and the connection that we can all embrace together can be found in sharing music. And so please, if during this holiday season, you get the opportunity to just cool out and put some music on, then do it, because it's good for the soul. And it'll help reinforce where we are right now as progressive liberal Democrats, and even those who are in the middle that are trying to find their way back, and some that are on the right that need a place to land. They know that they messed up. And the challenge is if they can admit it to themselves or not. Let's grab one quick call before we wrap up. Let's go to our good friend Victor, the northwest side of the United States of America. Welcome to our show. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Mr. Richard Chu. How do you do? I wish you all a Merry Christmas in the heartland, from the Pacific Coast here. I would like to say that you represent the heart and soul of the Progressive Party now. Everyone else has gone on vacation, Richard, and you're the only one out there. But I appreciate that more than anybody. And I believe in you and your message of humility and grace and humanity. And that's what's lacking with Donald Trump and the Republican Party. It's all blood and guts with them. And what we need to do is, like you say, get together, come together, and see the truth. And your progressive voice and the voices of others are the guiding light that we need during this dark period of the Trump regime. So thank you so much again. Merry Christmas. The word Christmas is derived from the 2 words, Christ and Mass. And it was coined during, I believe, the 12th century, and it was the Mass of Jesus Christ. So combined together, it's Christmas. And then the word Merry Christmas was added, later during the 1800s. But it is ironic. Mary is the mother of Jesus. So when we say Merry Christ Mass, we are honoring these individuals who brought grace to the world. So thank you so much, Richard, and we all love everything you do and say because it's much needed.
Thank you very much, Victor.
Carry on the good work there, Mr. Chu.
You know I will.
Great.
All right, Victor, listen, man, I just want to say this to you as well. Your voice, your contribution to our show means a lot to not just me, but to so many other people listening across the country. And so when I say thank you for your contribution, I mean that from the standpoint of your comments, your observations, not just about me or CPT and the work that other progressives are doing. People want to hear what you have to say as well. That's why I so appreciate contributions from you and so many others. So big hug and high five to you long distance from Chicago to my man Victor on the northwest side of the United States of America.
All right, Richard. Thank you again. And go with peace and God. Ciao.
Ciao. Chew. All right, Victor, be well, my man. Yeah, guys, listen. The as we kind of come to the end of today's show, and being Christmas Eve, or the day after Festivus, or the day after Christmas Eve. I don't have a crafted message that I would give to anybody. I think that and we'll talk about this, of course, next week as we end the year and start a new year. I'm just thankful that, first and foremost, I'm thankful to my wife. I'm thankful to my family and to my friends, both professional and personal, for, being a support system for me. The folks here at WCPT, and all the support that they give, that we give to each other. Our station management, whether it be Matt or Mark, and many other names that are here as part of the system that we have in place. All of our board engineers, all of our other folks that have shows, Joan, most definitely, Patty, Edwin, all of our weekend people. We're all thankful to you guys for being with us and listening to what, we try to bring to you each and every day. And we don't take it lightly. I can assure you that Patty doesn't, and I can assure you that Joan doesn't. And Edwin and our weekend folks and all the rest that are on the air. And shout out to Stephanie Miller, who's part of a team indirectly, my radio sister on the West Coast, and to Tom Hartman as well. But we know the task that we have in front of us. We definitely know. We're not blind-eyed to that at all. And all I've tried to do today is just remind us that yes, Christmas comes every year and New Year's comes every year, but every day comes every day. And so why I harp on so much about staying connected and staying focused on the things that matter to us right now is that I know that by doing that, my for lack of better words, my life's work has proven to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that when we do come together and we fight together to move forward rather than fighting against each other, that we get stuff done, and it sticks and it's lasting. And right now, we need that more than ever before in probably most people's lifetimes, that other than those that weren't around during World War II, or that were around, I should say, during World War II. So let's just keep it simple, guys. No need to think of it any way other than that. We don't have to agree on everything, and we won't, and we shouldn't. We should challenge everything that comes our way. But right now, what we definitely have to agree on is that we have to stay connected and we have to fight forward together. There is no option to that, period. We don't have the luxury any longer of kind of sitting back and letting things, play out. We have to be prepared for the fight. And I know there's a lot of folks that are tired from the fight that we've just been through. But my gift to you guys is to continue to do this in a way that is inspiring and hopeful and informative, and to be here as a support system for those who need it. I promise you that I'm going to continue down that path. And my gift is to just keep my promise in that space. And wish you guys a fun day tomorrow. Enjoy it with your family and your friends and whoever you're hanging with. Smiles rather than frowns. Okay? Please do that for me. That's my ask. Do that for me. Make today that day where you're going to have smiles and fun stuff, and just be connected to the people that you care about and you love. And with that, I'll say to my man Henry, Thank you, as always, for keeping us on the rails. And the rest of you wonderful folks out there, take a deep breath and make your life count. We'll see you on Thursday.
Hey folks, this is Carrie Joy with your Work Money Minute. We have all stopped at a convenience store for a necessity or two. A bottle of water, a half a gallon of milk, or a bag of pickle-flavored potato chips. I mean, those are necessities in your house too, right? But there is a cost for that kind of convenience, as much as 54% more. Now, when I was in my early 20s, like some of you, I may have done most of my shopping at the 7-Eleven around the corner from my apartment. And boy, oh boy, I wish I had known that shopping regularly at convenience stores instead of supermarkets meant I was paying a lot more for my groceries. A National Institute of Health survey recently found that milk can cost 11 to 14% more at those stores. Apples and bananas 10 to 53% more. And cereal can cost as much as 54% more. So, for your regular food shopping, keep more money in your wallet and head on over to the supermarket. For more tips on saving, text MONEY to 88285. This is Carrie Joy saying take good care.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
WCPT Replay.
I am very pleased to welcome to our airwaves Ed Yanka